Hey guys, welcome back. Woodworking here. I have another gameplay analysis video for you. In this one I will be spectating a tier 6 credible threat level player as he plays Lance. He is a roam main. Right off the bat going into this draft, he should be pretty excited. Lance is a really hard counter to pedal. Even as a roamer, the heroic perk he has just destroys minions, and as the game goes on later and she tries to use her ultimate, Lance is able to push the minions away from his teammates as they're about to explode. I've mentioned in other Lance videos that you can start your impale right after the clock hits 24 and you will be able to start the backs the moment they pop. It's not a huge deal, especially at this guy's tier, but it does lead to a faster initial farm rotation, and him and Blackfeather would have got to the shop a little bit earlier if they had done. One other thing I want to say really quick is that you can impale over the wall that separates the fronts from the mid tree on the left side of the map, but not on the right side of the map. You saw him try it there and it didn't really work out. Blackfeather went straight up to lane after shopping. I guess he didn't want to fight here. And our roamer took way too long shopping. It's something we all struggle with, but try to be faster, especially on your first buy. You know exactly what you're going to get, so don't linger that long. Really nice job by him here to come back into the fight, and nice impale to lock Lyra down. One thing I'll advise against though is using your Githian wall to just put damage down on a hero when you're causing them to be pushed away. It can put them into the position they want to get to anyway, because they're being pushed away from your carries as they're about to kill them. I also want to compliment him on being assertive there and making sure his Blackfeather went and got something for winning that fight. He went and took the treant, and that's what you want to do after you win an engage. Go steal farm from the enemy team. Just getting a kill isn't enough. You need to be getting something else for it, specifically farm or an objective. He's going to make another good move here by going up to the lane. Like I always tell you, unless your jungler is trying to put down pressure or is getting pressured, you should go to lane. And Lyra's up here putting pressure on his Celeste, so he needs to be there to help support her so she can have a little easier time farming. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that Lance should be able to destroy Petal's minions early on. So if he would have just attacked those things once or impaled them, he could have killed those minions. He still should have ran away, but you can run away while attacking. Here again, he's just going to turn around and walk away as the minions are beating on him. Attack those things. It costs Petal energy to remake them, and they're doing damage to you. So as you run away, turn around and attack every once in a while. It'll go a long way in helping your team. So far his build looks perfect. It's exactly how I build Lance. Start off with a weapon blade, working right into Fountain. He has vision on him, and every time he's gone to shop, he's grabbed either a couple flares or a couple mines. So far, so good on the build. He enters up to the lane here and makes a slight mistake. I would have preferred to see him stay here and get a kill on Lyra there. All it would have taken is one impale, and he could have waited until she overextended trying to protect that turret. That would have pushed their entire minion wave into the enemy turret, both costing Ringo farm and putting a lot of lane pressure on the enemy team. As Blackfeather and Lance are able to take out most of the enemy team's jungle, I want to mention that when I'm in a game where this happens, we get a huge early game advantage. I like to spend the extra money I've gotten buying more vision than I normally would, and I put mines all over the place. What this does is give my team both vision control of the whole map, and it allows us to keep exerting control of the enemy team's jungle and stealing their farm. You saw Lance put down a couple mines there. I would have preferred if a few of those went on the enemy team's side too. It helps you keep track of their rotations. Let's talk about impales for a minute. You see here he impales directly where Ringo was standing. When you're impaling an enemy hero while they're in the lane, you generally want to aim slightly behind them, like one of their full body sizes behind them, because they're always going to retreat towards their turret. If he had done it there, he would have rooted Ringo and might have led to a kill. I've seen him do a Githian wall a couple of times here, just trying to add damage. I'd prefer to see him saving that ability for a moment when he can either stun a target or push them a direction he wants them to go. If you're just spamming it to be doing extra damage while you're actually pushing the enemy hero the direction they want to go, it's kind of a big waste. Not really sure why he went all the way to the bottom there. Petal doesn't get a jump fast enough to jump both those walls. Not really a big deal, but just map awareness and hero ability awareness. He should have known that Petal was running through that middle section of the jungle. Good fountain timing there, he got it before 6 minutes. Pretty big waste of a mine there. That mine's going to get popped the next time Petal rotates through a jungle. I've shown you where to put mines in another video. I like them closer to the gold mine at the very tip of the tri-bush, right next to the gold mine. As you can see, he used fountain right there. I know what he was thinking. Celeste is at a quarter health. There's 2 enemy heroes in the lane, and the other one might be rotating up. I should keep my Celeste alive. But as you saw, she ends up rotating to the shop anyway, where she could have pot up potion, or she could have poured it home to get health and energy back. So now he's not going to have fountain up for 60 seconds. I don't really like the use of fountain there. Just save it. If your Celeste gets jumped on, you can pop at that moment, and hopefully she's smart enough to know she's low and she should port back. It's not your job to keep track of her health when she's not in a fight. He does do a good job here beating the minions back, and eventually they're able to push the enemy team off the turret. Really nice ult by Celeste here, and then the moment fountain comes up, he uses it again. Celeste was back down to a 3rd health because she got ulted by the Ringo, but they had just killed 2 of the enemy team. There was no reason to use it there. So once again, fountain is down for 60 seconds. Good job running straight down to gold mine by him. This is exactly what I've been saying you need to do. If you get a couple kills on the enemy team, get something for it. And as you can see, they're getting the gold mine. Great play by his team. As you're taking gold mine, it's a really good time to think about what you're going to do next. Take a look at the builds. Your auto attacking as Lance really doesn't do that much damage, so if you miss a few stutter steps because you're checking builds or figuring out what you want to build next, it's worth it. He should have rotated down to shop with Blackfeather right after they got the gold mine right there, but instead he kind of lingers around, thinks about porting, doesn't port, and then eventually does port. I would have rather just seen him immediately port, or more preferably go straight to the shop with Blackfeather. And he starts working towards Crucible. I would have gotten tier 1 boots here, and then either Atlas or War Treads are more of a preferable choice here. There's not really a lot of things you should be blocking with Crucible in this situation. Probably Petal's ult most likely. So that's not as much of a priority as getting your team into good engages or out of bad engages with War Treads, or putting down Atlas on Ringo. Sorry about the frame rate lag, but from what I can tell, that was a good fountain there. Celeste was getting attacked and she was low. However, he knew Petal was in that bush, and instead he tries to go, I don't know, maybe finish off the kill on Lyra. He should have stayed protecting Celeste. As I said at the beginning of the video, you can use your Githian wall to push minions back, and that would have done a lot more for his team than just attacking the other team in the lane while his Celeste died. And then right here, I don't know what he was expecting to get out of that. I see this a lot with lower tier players. They don't really know what they're supposed to do, so instead of just staying with their carries or doing something that will help their team, they make bad choices, mostly because they don't know what to do. He should have stayed in the lane there. As you can see, it's pushing, and he's not going to be able to 1v1 Petal anyway, so there's no point in wandering down to her because she could have easily killed him. Let's talk about positioning for a minute. In this fight, you saw that he started off in between Petal and his carries, and then when Petal jumped out of the way, he just switched focus to Lyra. I know Petal doesn't really have things he can be body blocking, but it's still good practice to stay in between the enemy carries and your carries if you can. And he should have kept attacking the pedal there, not Lyra. Lyra's not the focus, and he could have easily done more for his team, especially if that fight would have gone bad, if he would have stayed in between Petal and either his Black Feather or Celeste. Not really sure why our Lance decided to port there. He had more than half health, and Black Feather's over in the enemy's jungle stealing their farm. So if our Lance would have stayed with him, he would have gotten gold and experience from the farm Black Feather was taking, and Life Spring, that is the tier 2 item that builds into Fountain, would have replenished pretty much all his health before the time they got to the jungle shop. So not really a reason to port. He could have ended this with more gold, more experience, and he still would have been able to shop. He just hit boots there. I'm not really sure why. Maybe because he saw all the enemy heroes in the lane. It's not a huge deal on roams to use your boots like he did there. I mean, he was going to try to help his carry. All he needed to do, though, was just hold his finger over the mini-map and see that she wasn't really taking any damage, and he could have saved him. He did just pick up Atlas, so that's good, and not a terrible use of Crucible there. I don't know if he actually had this thought, but all his team was grouped up, and if Ringo's ult hits all of you when you're that close together, it does do the burst and burn damage on all of you. So that's actually a really good use of Crucible on something you wouldn't normally Crucible, because it attacks an individual target. I don't know if you saw though, but his fountain was super early. I know I've said in other videos that when you're low tier, an early fountain's better than a late fountain. But when I say early fountain, I mean if you're fountaining your team at, say, half health. And all his teammates, including himself, were above 3/4 health when he used the fountain. So it did almost nothing for them. If you're thinking, so what, his team still won the fight, it didn't cost them anything. Yeah, that's one way to look at it, but both his teammates, if you haven't been able to tell yet by watching this gameplay footage, are better than everybody on the other team. So he's getting away with stuff that could be a really big deal if fights weren't going their way. As you saw there, after doing early fountains the whole game, he does a really late fountain, and Celeste goes down before fountain even hits her dead corpse. So it's something you just got to work on. Just keep trying to get it off. Like I said, when somebody gets down to half health, especially if they're taking a lot of damage, get that fountain out. If he wants to go over that wall right there with his impale, he needs to go maybe 2 or 3 body lengths below where he went, just as a heads up. One more thing I want to say is he bought Atlas, which is the right itemization, but he has yet to use it. And then there you see, remember how I said Crucible's not something you generally use on Ringo's ult because it targets an individual target? Our Lance used his Crucible on Ringo's ult when it was going to hit Blackfeather, but Blackfeather just used his ult to block it, so complete waste of Crucible there. Good job by our Lance trying to get away from these people, and he does bring the enemy team right into his Celeste. That part of the fight was really good. He's just struggling with activatables, which I don't blame him. He's tier 6. He doesn't have a lot of practice getting them off in clutch times. And then, you know, it's hard when you're trying to multitask and worried about fountaining your team on time to even think about atlasing the other Ringo. But just have a game plan for every fight. Once you get Atlas, know that's something you need to drop on the enemy when you're engaging with them. So think, okay, while I'm watching my teammates' health, I'm also going to be rolling towards Ringo and popping that Atlas off. Eventually you'll be able to do it. It's not a big deal if you struggle with it for a long time, but all you got to do is keep playing games, keep playing ranked games. I know you think you've worked really hard to get to your skill tier, and I'm not taking that away from you. You have worked really hard to get to your skill tier, but If you drop, from gold to bronze because you're playing a bunch of ranked games and you lose a few, don't worry about it. You will rank right back up. You can't get better at this game playing casual like you can playing ranked games. In casual, people troll too much, they don't build right, there's no drafts. There's so much of the game that you're missing if you're only playing casuals. And that's fine. If that's what's fun for you, more power to you. Play casuals. But if you want to get better at this game, if getting better at this game is fun for you, you need to play ranked games. That's going to pretty much do it for this video. Overall, I would say this player did really well, and he's probably not far off from moving up a full skill tier. Just needs to keep working on his activatables, like I mentioned. They were all either too early or too late. I think only one fountain came off on time, and it was on that Celeste when she was in lane. And he cannot multitask at all. Like, if he needs to get Crucible and Atlas, or Atlas and Fountain off at the same time, forget it. And I was exactly the same way when I was this skill tier. I'm not taking anything away from him. All I did was keep playing, and eventually I don't even really have to think consciously, okay, I should Fountain now. I just know when it needs to come, and the fountains come out on time. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. I really do hope you guys learned something, and if you have any more questions for me, please feel free to leave them below. Now that I'm looking at the builds, I do want to mention, I know they're wrecking the other team. Aftershock's fine, but although Crystal Power does extend Lance's root duration on his Impale, no reason not to get War Treads there before you go into Crystal Power. Anyways, like I said, I hope you learned something. I'll catch you guys next time.